How are we going to associate a port with a particular VLAN? Remember, by default, every ports are a member of VLAN 1, which is called the default VLAN. Well, if I want to take a port and move it to another VLAN, then I have to go into global configuration mode, type in interface, and then the name of the interface and the number of the interface. In this case, we're focusing on fast Ethernet 0/3 on our local switch. And we type in this command right here. Switch port, access, VLAN, and in the VLAN number. So in this case, we're putting fast Ethernet 0/3 into VLAN 2 with the switch port access VLAN 2 command. Now you'll notice here, this command switch port mode access, this command is not mandatory, but it's highly, highly recommended for any interfaces on any switches that are going to only be a member of one single VLAN. So in this case, fast Ethernet 0/3 goes down to our end station. This end station is only going to be part of VLAN 2, our sales VLAN. As a result of that, I'm typing in switch port mounted access, which makes sure that this port will only ever be a member of that single VLAN. Now, why do I care about that? Because if I don't put in switch port mode access and someone comes along and attempts to make that switch convert itself into a port that accepts traffic from multiple VLANs, then that end station can receive traffic for all the VLANs that exist, which now becomes a security issue. So by typing in switch port mode access, it ensures that this port will always only remain a member of a single VLAN, and it's whatever VLAN is listed in this output right here. So in this case, it's VLAN 2. We're only going to be a member of VLAN 2 unless somebody manually changes that command. If a device comes along and says, hey, let's start talking for all these other VLANs, the switch says no, because I am switch port mode access. I am only a member of a single VLAN. So that's a great little security config right there to ensure that you'll only ever belong to VLAN 2 or whatever other VLAN has been specified. Let's look at the output of show VLAN brief here. We'll see that VLAN 1 is our default VLAN. It's active. It can't be deleted at all. It is a default VLAN, and various protocols and services on our switch rely on VLAN 1 for communication. For example, CDP and spanning tree protocol and VTP, all relying on VLAN 1 for the control plane communication, switch to switch communication of information. So can't delete VLAN 1. It's always there. And as a result, every port is automatically a member of VLAN 1 by default. And we can see all our ports here, except for gigabit 0/1. Notice is not listed. And the reason why gig 01 is not listed is because it is known as a trunk port. And a trunk port allows us to pass traffic for multiple VLANs. So in this case, gig 01 is not, I'm going to repeat, gig 01 is not a member of any of these respective VLANs. It's responsible for passing traffic for multiple VLANs. So gig 01 would be a switch port that would go to another switch as an example, or a switch port that goes to a router as an example, and we need to pass traffic for the multiple VLANs across that single physical link. So that's why it's not showing up there. Now, fast Ethernet 0/3, I want you to notice where it is. It is located on the same line as VLAN 2. So fast Ethernet 0/3 has been moved from VLAN 1 down to VLAN 2. And how did we accomplish that again? We accomplished it by typing in switch port access VLAN 2. That's the command that successfully moved fast Ethernet 0/1 down to VLAN 2 from VLAN 1. In addition, notice we also have VLAN 3 here and VLAN 4 because we would have configured those. And at the bottom here, there's 4 other VLANs, 1002, 1003, 1004, and 1005. These are for legacy connectivity to FDDI and Token Ring. Typically, you're not going to see them used anymore, but they're classified as being also default VLANs. So if you're ever asked, how many default VLANs are there? There's 5. VLAN 1, and then VLAN 1002, 3, 4, and 5. Those are 5 default VLANs. But the default VLAN, if you're ever asked, what is the default VLAN? And you're looking for just one answer, it's going to be VLAN 1. And can it be erased? No, it can't be erased. It always has to be there. and we always need it to be active. Here's some other output for Fast Ethernet 0/3. Show interfaces. Fast Ethernet 0/3. If we stopped right there, all right, so let's scratch that out. So if we stopped right there, that would show us our layer 1 and layer 2 statistics of our interface. It would show us counters. It would show us whether we're full duplex or half duplex. It would show us our speed. It would show us our MAC address, our burned in address. Show us our MTU. But I'm adding on the switch port keyword here. That's what I'm adding on. Switch port. What does this do? It shows me VLAN and trunking information. So right now we're Fast Ethernet 0/3, and it says here that we are an enabled switch port. What that implies is that we are a layer 2 switch port. Layer 2. We're not a routed port. We're not a port that can perform routing. We are a layer 2 switch port. So we rely on layer 2 functionality. It says here administrative mode is static access. Administrative mode is static access. What does that mean? Well, static access here under administrative mode says that we typed in the command switch port mode access. That's right. So it's this command here. This command here is the command that has caused this output here to show administrative mode is static access, meaning we are an access port and we will only belong at this point in time to a single VLAN. But now that's the administrative mode, meaning what has the administrator typed in? Or what is the default value from Cisco? In this case, we typed in switch port mode access, static access. So what is the operational mode? The operational mode is going to identify what we truly are. Are we really an access port? And in this case, we are, because it says static access. So we truly are an access point at this time. And we are only going to belong to one single VLAN at this point in time. So what is that VLAN? If you go down through the output just a little more, you see the access mode VLAN is VLAN 2. And it's named sales. So we know here with this output that we are a member of VLAN 2, which is sales. And we are an access port. Now, one other item I'd like you to think about is that if you do not see the name here at all, and instead it says inactive. All right, let me write that out for you. Inactive. So let's say it did not say sales. Instead, it said inactive. What would that imply? Well, that would imply that at some point in time, our membership to VLAN 2 has changed. And what do I mean by the membership to VLAN 2 has changed? Well, if it's inactive, it means it doesn't exist. So even though I'm still a member of VLAN 2 doesn't exist anymore. So if it doesn't exist, what happened to it? Well, it might have been deleted. So if you ever see inactive here in brackets instead of the name of the VLAN, I want you to think VLAN was deleted. So if we came back to this output here, we would no longer see this information here at all. This would all be gone. Now, where does Fast Ethernet 0/3 go at that point in time? Well, Fast Ethernet 0/3 just does not appear here. So if you're looking at this output and the port is missing, one, it's either a trunk port, as I already mentioned, or what? The VLAN was deleted that the port belongs to. So if Fast Ethernet 0/3, you expect to be in VLAN 2 and it's not showing up here, well, is VLAN 2 even here? That's something else to consider here. So ports will not show up in this output, one, if the port belongs to a VLAN that was deleted, or two, it's a trunk port. So this is great output for you to become accustomed to, for you to become very familiar with, and that is the VLAN numbers, their names, status of being active, and then the ports.